Hello everyone and welcome to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the EVE Online markets. While we head to the couch, two small announcements. First of all, the patch has been delayed by 1 week, so it's not coming next week but the week after that. And there's a very important dev blog, I'll try and cover that on Monday, but it's about the changes to skills for ships and battlecruisers and the destroyers, which will also get racial skills. And it's actually very important that you check out that dev blog if you haven't already, to make the most out of your time and try and get most skills ready. But for today, we'll check out the markets. So let's start off with the very usual titanium, all our minerals. Damn, that chart is still doing the same thing. That's really weird. That one data point 300,000. What the hell is this? It's not really very good, but let's have a look at the prices. 591 in station for the sellers, 595 and 590 for the buyers. Let's see if that 591 sellers, just 2 to 3 million titanium, that's not a lot, so still pretty much the same. I think it was 594 last week, now it's around 595 for the first big order, so titanium pretty much hasn't moved. Pyrite, let's have a look at that one, which was on an uptrend, and now it's at 16 ISK, 1588 for the sellers. Let's have a look at the chart. Yep, still definitely on an uptrend. That's very interesting. If Mexalon is still on the downtrend, well, it seemed to have stopped its downtrend. You can see the 5-day moving average starting to trend back up, which means we have price of 53.10 for the sellers, 52.99 for the buyers. Still no margin, but that does mean that that pyrite is your best bet at the moment, and so scordite is probably still going to be the most popular ore to mine. Let's have a quick look at some of the other minerals like isogen, holding around 150, maybe a slight uptrend can be seen right here at the tail end. Nothing too serious or dramatic just yet. What's Siderine doing? Let's see, still hovering at around 800, maybe even a small downtrend visible on this one. Let's have a quick look at Noxium, which I think can still be mined in high sec. And damn, that's a big band, 500 to 1000, somewhere in between there, maybe 770, something like that. Yeah, 783 in station. Although that's a small order, 792, something like that, and 783 for the buyers. So I think that's, how would I have to put that price? It went up to 1000, but the chart is once again not that good, and well, pretty flat in the last 3 months actually, at around 780, 790, something like that. So that actually hasn't moved that much, although we do see that there was a big movement earlier last year. Let's have a look at finally megasite, the most expensive one of the minerals used for Tech 1 stuff, and that's actually pretty low for the year. Let's have a quick look at the prices. 2135.36 ISK for megasite, almost no sell orders outside of Jita station, as you can see, and 2057 for the buy orders. That's, well, at least that's 80 ISK margin. Well, it's really not that much actually. And yeah, historically it's actually okay. It's not that bad. I might actually have to relook at my margins on the Talos production after this, because the megasite, the Siderine, and the Noxium, well, the Noxium is pretty high, but definitely the megasite and the Siderine, which I have to buy, seem to be on a rather low place compared to what it was like before the expansion, when all the margins were completely gone. So could be interesting considering these prices. I'd have to do the calculations myself, of course. We might actually see some margins increase again for manufacturers. So let's have a quick look at Tech 1 chips. The Drake actually varying quite wildly. It's actually the first time I'm really starting to see that, but you can see a serious stop here on the 5-day moving average, going from below 50 million all the way up to 52 million and then back down towards 50. So that's actually a 2 million A 2 million variation right there on the 5-day moving average in a very small amount of time. That's actually pretty interesting. The Drake overall though still holding on around just around 50 million ISK. For the sell orders, let's have a quick look then at the Maelstrom, which is a battleship. 208, that's just one seller. 211 million ISK pretty much for the sellers, 200 million for the buyers. And that's actually, that's, although it's flat, it has a serious band again, 200 to 250 million right there. And you can once again see, just have a look there at that 5-day moving average, going up and down, above and below the 20-day moving average. So this is pretty interesting. Although the margins are probably not going to be as big as what we saw last year in the Tech 2 market, like the Guardians. And there are definitely some small trade opportunities in Tech 1 chips if this is what it's starting to look like. So I do want to take a look at the Talos then as well, just to see if maybe that one has cratered as well. Well, it's gone down definitely since the expansion, from almost 90 to, what would that be, maybe 82 million, something like that. Let's have a quick look at prices here. 82 million for the sellers, 78 million for the buyers. It still have decent, but it's a bit below what it was as well. So yeah, on the margin front, it might actually not be as good as I at first thought it would be, because as you can see right here from the December chart, there's definitely we definitely lost 7 or 8 million in the sell prices, which basically reflects the low prices for minerals like megasite, sidrine, and isogen over the whole year, speaking of course. So it's pretty interesting. I'll have to take a look at my margins, but I don't actually think they've jumped that much or changed that much, just because the Talos has also followed some of the high minerals back down. Moving on to the Tech 2 market, let's have a quick look at the Guardian chart, which still looks unfortunately rather flat. You can again see the 5-day moving average moving up and down a little bit, but this is just in a 10 million band price range, so that's definitely not the old variations we saw. As you can see right here at the left part of this 3-month chart, you can already see one that goes from 150 to 120. That's a 30 million ISK band. That's quite a difference between the variations we're seeing right now. I'll have just a quick look at the 3-month charts for the other Tech 2. Where are they? Logistics cruisers, just to see if they're also moving in a much smaller band than previously. Actually, you can see the Oneros is still doing it pretty decently. 120 at the lowest point, 150 at the highest point. So yeah, I do think the Scimitar maybe, although it's well, yeah, definitely, I would say, yeah, between 140 and 120. The Scimitar not as good, doing as good as the Oneros in the price range band, but still a lot better than the Guardian. And then the Basilisk and the Guardian, that's nothing anymore, very stable. So if you're looking for some Tech 2 trading, I would be looking at the Oneros and the Scimitar at the moment, which still have at least some price ranges where you can take some profits. Let's move on to the Tech 3 market then. We'll start off with the melted nano ribbons. This 3-month chart definitely went up a lot with the expansion, and now it's been holding on quite well at around 5.4 million. Let's have a look at the 1-year chart. On the 1-year chart though, they come from 9 million, so historically speaking still pretty low, but it does look like it's bounced off of its bottom, which was almost at 4.5 million. Let's have a quick look at the Loki then. Also that same general deflationary trend in Tech 3 stuff. Below 200 million for the Loki, and obviously the Tengu, where are you? Right there. Yeah, around 180 million is where it's heading. The Tengu also had to contend with some nerfs that weren't really too good for its price range. But on a 1-year basis, you could say there's a serious deflation in the Tech 3 market. But if you look at the melted nano ribbons, there's definitely a bottom that's been seen here. It's possible, of course, that it just takes some time before this all pushes through to the actual ship markets, it's definitely possible that these will react a little bit more slowly to changes in the other Tech 3 goods, I should say wormhole goods. So it's going to be pretty damn interesting to see how that evolves. The variations on it are, well, it's of course a very small price band, but you can of course see, let's have a quick look at the 6-month chart. You can see right here a lot of speculation has been going on, I think, in the melted nano ribbons part, but overall they've been holding on pretty well after their bottom. Moving on to a couple of suggestions. People asked me to check the Battlecruisers because these are going to be changed, so I'll have a quick look at the charts for, say, the Harbinger, which is down a bit in the last few weeks, I would say. Let's have a look at the Oracle, also down a bit. Prophecy went up quite substantially. What's that? This is the 6-month chart, so that's around January, something like that. That could be the announcement right there, that big spike on the 5-day moving average, and then definitely a 20-day moving average uptrend as well, although it's cooled off right now. That could be a spike due to the announced changes to the prophecy, because I like them quite a lot, and I suspect that a lot of people do expect them to become far more popular, and possibly some people have just started to stock up on some prophecies. Let's have a quick look at the Caldari charts. The Drake down a bit. The Ferox hasn't moved that much. You can maybe even see a small uptrend over on January. And the Naga, small downtrend after the expansion, I would say. Galente, pretty stable. The Brutix, that's a bit surprising. The Myrmidon, very bad chart. So that's going to be very difficult to have an idea what that's going to be like. But if I take a look at a 3-month chart, holding on at around 55 million, maybe a slight downtrend, but definitely not as pronounced as some of the Caldari and the Amar Battlecruisers. On the other hand, the Talos does know this correction right here at the beginning of this year. And let's have a look at the Minmatar then. The Cyclone up quite a lot, and again you can see these big spikes. This is, yeah, there is no doubt in my mind anymore that this is because the announced changes, and we all know that the Cyclone definitely can become a very powerful ship after the changes. The Hurricane, I would expect a slump again, yep, and then the Tornado also the correction. So yeah, that was actually a very good suggestion. A lot of the Battlecruisers are slowly going down from their tops, which were around the expansion, but the Cyclone is a major exception, as well as the Prophecy, which both will know significant changes once the Battlecruiser rebalancing comes out, and speculators and traders have already greatly started trading around those changes, and it's especially visible in the Cyclone, because that's from around 30 million, maybe 31, 32, and then you have price points almost at 40 million, which is a 20% increase, something like that. That's very significant, very interesting. People definitely think the Cyclone is going to become the best battle cruiser if you look at these price changes. The other suggestion was, I think, for the Marauders, if I'm not mistaken. These were all dropping in price quite substantially. Let's have a look at the chart. Yep, and these prices, although the chart looks very similar to the Battlecruisers, this actually goes from almost 1 billion, from 0.95 billion to 0.85 billion. So that's 100 million drop since the beginning of the year. And if you look at some of these high top price ranges, right around the 1st of January, 1.1 billion, and now down to 0.85. That's 250 million less than what it was right at the beginning of the year, where some people apparently bought some very expensive Paladins. Let's have a look at the Golem. Damn, bad chart again. Let's have a look if I can see anything on the 3-month chart. This one seems to be holding on at around, what would that be, 900 million, something, 843, 844. yeah, 850 maybe, something like that. So I'm not seeing the same movement in the golem. Let's have a look at the Chronos chart. Again, a bad chart. That's really not very good, but you can see a downward trend going from what? Let's have a look. I would say around 0.92 to 0.85. That's not bad either. What would that be in difference? Something like 70 million is it dropped since the beginning of the year. That's not insignificant for the Chronos. And let's have a look at the Vargar, which, whoa, that's a lot of movement there as well. Let's have a look at the 6-month chart. Yep, definitely the same thing here. From, I would once again say, around 920 million down to around 850 million. And no sign at the moment that this is going to end anytime soon either. So yeah, except for the Golem, all the Marauders are indeed on a serious downtrend since the beginning of the year. So very good suggestion once again. And then we'll end up with the Plex. Let's have a look at what these prices are doing. That's again a very strange chart. Let's have a look at the 1-year one. Yep, the rise up, which we all know. We've seen the speculative bubble come up to 650, 600 million, something like that. But the slow correction is definitely here. Even the 20-day moving average has moved below 550 million. Let's have a look at the prices in JITA. 532, 533 for the sellers, 523 for the buyers. Very interesting. Dropped another 4-5 million from 2 weeks ago. So yep, the downtrend is still here. It's going to be interesting. Someone had said he expects the bottom to be closer to the summer period at around 500 million ISK. And if this keeps up, he might actually turn out to be right. We'll have to wait and see, because that would actually be a major turnaround, because it was also at that price point, I would say, just before May, and even lower than that. So it's going to be interesting to see if it can once again reach that price point of April, May, which was around 500 million. That would definitely mean that inflation is not as high as it always seems to people. Very interesting. I would still not be afraid to pick up a few Plexes at the moment if you can afford them. Just spread out your purchases, trying to take advantage of these lowering prices. But yeah, we all know that when expansions start to hit, the prices of these will rise. Unless anything drastic happens, of course. So I still think Plexes are a good investment, but my bottom of 550 was clearly wrong, as we're almost starting to head towards 530 at the moment. And if it continues up towards the summer expansion, which is not impossible, you know, if they can't really galvanize new players with smaller patches, you could definitely see a continued correction in Plex. And 500 million might once again be in the cards. We'll have to wait and see on that. But it's a very interesting market at the moment, I think, for the Plexes, if you're looking for some longer term investments. Anyways, that's it for this week, guys, and I'll see you all next time.